Hi, my name is Shoma Jurgensen, and I'd like to welcome you to the next in the Professional Communication series. The topic of this PowerPoint presentation and video is about how to write effectively, and to do so you're not just writing, but to understand that you're building a case. Now I have to admit I am a sucker for Law and Order. I love all the different iterations, and one of the things that really drew me to this article in Faculty Focus about making a case for writing research papers is the very realistic, practical way that it describes building an argument. And an argument or an idea or a proposal all needs to come from a very structured place in order to gain support and gain buy-in from others. So let's walk through how this might work using a presentation that I used in one of my writing classes and a current event at the time. So first, I want to talk about how this analogy, not just writing a paper or a proposal, but building a case works. And to do so, let's take a look at lawyers, right? Lawyers don't just pick a topic. They actually frame the case. They make a claim or an argument, and then they search for evidence or sources that allow them to support that claim. Third, they present the evidence, and in this case you're either writing a paper or a proposal. In a courtroom you would be presenting the case in front of a judge and jury. And finally there's a closing argument, drawing a conclusion, and this is a very dramatic piece for lawyers to do, and often is the point at which students or writers kind of run out of steam at the most important point in which you want to close your case. So we're going to go through some of this. So first, let's take a look at, now at the time that I presented this to my class, Lindsay Lohan was in the news for stealing, supposedly stealing a necklace. All right. So students will often start with a topic. So they'll say, I want to write about Lindsay Lohan. And instructors will say, well, what is your thesis? All right. So the question then becomes, is Lindsay Lohan guilty of jewelry theft? So now our topic has become a thesis or question. Now, when you're framing a case, particularly if you're writing an argumentative essay or you're presenting a proposal, you need to make the claim. Where are you going to put your stick in the ground? In this case, I've asked my students to support the frame that Lindsay Lohan is guilty of jewelry theft. So now that I've made this claim, Lindsay Lohan is guilty of jewelry theft. Right? So I'm the prosecutor in the courtroom and I want to now support my frame. It's very important at this point to understand the difference between opinion and fact. All ideas require support. Even the experts will tell you, as you are in court and you're prosecuting a case, you may be the head prosecutor, but you still have to support your claim with relevant case data, with witness testimony, and with other evidence that supports your claim. So what constitutes believable evidence? Is there enough evidence to support your case? And the more the merrier. You can always leave some out, but digging some up at the last minute is what makes for some pretty dramatic Law and Order episodes, right? There are people whose ideas need to be reinforced. For example, if you have someone who's an accomplice in a crime, you have to get corroborating evidence from somebody not involved in the crime, right? At least two people have to say, yes, this is what I believe to be true. Okay. Now, when you're presenting your evidence, you are not just presenting it and everyone will just then say, oh yes, I see exactly what you mean. There is an element of evaluation that goes on. So the judge and the jury have to evaluate, one, do you have enough evidence? And two, is the evidence valid? And three, does your evidence support your actual claim? Is it relevant or is it not relevant? So in this case, when you're writing a proposal or a research paper or an argumentative essay, your reader is the one that's evaluating. Whether or not you ask the question in your head about whether something is valid or relatable or not, the reader will. So when you present your argument, do so professionally, do so with an active voice, and do so thoroughly. Because again, if you look back at TV episodes where there might be a public defender who's just been their first day on the job. Okay, not anything against public defenders, but if they're unprepared, which is the dramatic moment, it makes a difference on whether the case has merit or is seen to have merit. So make sure that you're that public defender with experience that is enacting professionally, actively, and thoroughly on behalf of your client. So closing your argument, right? I want to go back just a couple slides, my apologies, but when you're gathering or framing your case, this is your thesis or your introduction, okay? Gathering evidence and supporting your opinions with facts, presenting this evidence is essentially the body of your paper or the proposal. When you close, this is your point. This is your chance to make one last connection with your reader, with your audience. This is the conclusion. When you close your argument, remember that you want them to picture your claim. All right? You want to summarize the argument in key points, but this is the point in which you want to draw your conclusion. Yes, Lindsay Lohan is guilty of jewelry theft. I've proven this because X, Y, and Z. Right? And then you can rest your case, right? But this is not the time to run out of energy in your proposal or in your research paper. This is your last chance to engage with your audience so that your ideas are left with them. So before you go to court, all right, before you submit your paper, there are certain areas you need to be aware of. One, ask yourself, are there holes in your case? Right? Because although you don't have a defender or a prosecutor cross-examining your witnesses, in this case you will have a reader that will say, well, that doesn't make a connection, or why does that matter to me, or where is their evidence? All right. Could the other attorney poke holes? If they could, then your reader will be able to. Did you substantiate all your claims? Remember, your name alone, unless you are a nationally recognized expert, will not be enough to simply express your opinion and have everybody accept it. In fact, national experts understand that to become that level of expert, research is required, evidence is required, analogies, examples, observations, all the different kinds of supporting details that you can see as you delve further into some of my videos or tutorials on sophia.org. So the activity that I took my class through was this. I asked them to support the case that Lindsay Lohan is guilty of jewelry theft. That is currently the opinion, right? They had to build a case to either support this to the satisfaction of a judge and jury. So as they presented evidence, the judge and jury decided, is this relevant? Is it not? Is it credible? Is it not? Are you supporting the case that you make? And finally, did you, quote unquote, win your case? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on building a case in your writing and that you'll take a look at some of the other titles in the Professional Communication series. Thank you very much.